Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Sanch, welcome back to the Bodybuilding News Network. We have a exciting, interesting, controversial video for you here today. So if you're interested in learning about my opinions on Breon Ansley and Urs Kalecinski over the last few years, definitely consider staying tuned, watching the rest of the video, and consider subscribing if you enjoy this style of content. As always, I'm your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network, Josh Sanch. Thanks for stopping in and checking out this video. Now, let's get into the meat and potatoes. And I have a lot of photography. I have a lot of graphs, a lot of overlays to look at here. But essentially what the conversation here is, as I do a double is why Urs Kalecinski places above Breon Ansley every year. We're going to look through these photos. We're going to try to figure out what the judges are seeing. We're going to rate each shot, the side-by-sides that we have available. And at the end of the video, we're going to come to a conclusion of, do you think Urs Kalecinski is actually beating out Breon Ansley in enough shots to give him that third place he received at last year's Olympia, at the most recent Olympia, technically, since it's still 2023. Now, as you can see, we're going through the front doubles. This is the more aesthetic, classic pose. And I personally like Breon when he has his abs contracted. He has an amazing set of abs, and it's a huge strong point for him. Now, Urs' midsection is good as well. I think that the rib cage is not as aesthetic as Breon's, and it kind of takes away from the physique a little bit. Now, moving into this, what do you call this? The abs and thigh, right? Abs and one thigh. When you look at and I know the quality's not great, this is what NPC has out for their comparisons. Now, when you look at the legs, I would say that they're somewhat comparable in this shot, but a lot of the other shots you're going to notice Breon has some serious detail and some serious muscle maturity in his legs that kind of separate him from Urs Kalecinski. I would say the same thing as we move to the back. I'd say the same thing about the detail, muscle maturity in the complete back double bicep shot here. Breon completely smokes Urs Kalecinski in this shot. The level of detail, muscle maturity, density, conditioning. I mean, I don't know what else you need to look at to have Breon winning this shot. Urs is wider, Urs is taller, but he's not as detailed, he's not as conditioned, and he's not as complete. From the side chest, again, I'm going to go with Breon here. The detail in the glute, the hamstring, and the quad is superior to Urs, as well as the delt definition and detail, the bicep completeness and fullness, the chest fullness, the presentation of him rotating the shot all the way, and heck, I'll give it to him for the smile as well. Again, another shot where I feel like Breon is completely dominating this pose. Now, we get into the HD photos. This is from Galco. I do believe Galco was doing the photography here, but I could be wrong. It was from the NPC News Online website, so I'll give credit where credit is due. Again, you can see more clearly how well Breon is dominating this pose. The conditioning, the separation, the muscle density in the glutes, hamstrings, back, delts, biceps, everything goes to Breon in this back double bicep. From the front, this is, again, we talked about the vacuum pose. Breon's vacuum is way more aesthetically pleasing than Urs's. The rib structure that Urs has is actually very similar to what I have, and it's just not as aesthetic. It shouldn't be rewarded when you look at someone as complete as Breon Ansley. The arms, the chest is more complete, more detailed, more developed. The legs are debatable. I would say Urs has really good separation in the legs, but that's about where I leave it there for his pros over Breon. More HD footage of what we've already compared. You can see the chest, the shoulder separation, the detail, the biceps, the triceps, the separation between them. Breon versus Urs. It's completely different caliber of an athlete. The glute tie-in to the hamstring is day and night. The quad detail, day and night. I'm not sure what the judges are seeing, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't want this to be a Urs bash video, but I genuinely think that there's something going on in the background where the Olympia is pushing Urs Kalecinski to place higher than I think that he has earned yet in his career. He really came out of nowhere and became a first call-out competitor. And I won't argue that. I think he looks phenomenal, and I think that he could potentially belong in that first call out at the Olympia. I'm not a classic guy through and through, so I'm not watching these shows as detailed as I am with the Open and the 212. But again, as we conclude this video, I've got about a minute left. I want to preface this as saying that this is not a Urs bash video. This isn't a Germany bashing video. I know Urs and Ramon, the fans get a little crazy. I want you to be able to take this criticism and rewatch this over and over again. Look at the physiques, look at the comparisons, and think in your head, where does Urs beat Breon Ansley in the comparisons? When you look at the muscle density, the conditioning, the separation, the fullness. You could even talk about presentation and posing. Where does Urs beat Breon enough for him to year in and year out be above the two-time classic physique Olympia champion, the Black Swan, Breon Ansley? Now, I have met Breon several times. He's a great guy, so maybe I am slightly biased, but I'd like to think that I'm being very fair and very partial with going through the routines. I'm your host here on the Bodybuilding News Network. Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.